My name is Robert R. Bryan. I'm a human rights attorney. I specialize primarily in the death penalty, and I'm from San Francisco, California. And I'm former lead attorney for Mumia Abu Jamal, but I have a number of other murder cases and also represent Indian activists, etc.
So, being a former lead counsel of Abu Jamal, would you say there are differences or similarities in the two cases, like Cuban 5 and...
The differences is that the Cuba 5 cases are all federal, whereas Mumia's case is a state case. It's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania. So just procedurally, legally, that's an enormous difference between the two for what we're about to talk about, and that is an online petition. But in Mumia's case, I developed an online petition and we have got signers from all over the world, Nobel Prize winners such as Gunter Grass, former First Lady of France, Danielle Mitterrand, who's a very close friend of mine, and we got her to be the first signer. She's number one if you look at the list on the website. And we asked in that petition President Obama to speak out against the death penalty. And I say in it that even though he has no power over Mumia's case, because it's a state case, not a federal case, that we ask him to speak out against the death penalty, both in Mumia's case and in regard to all people facing the death penalty around the world. In other words, we are asking him, with his great moral authority on the world stage, to speak out against capital punishment. So that's Mumia's petition. Now, your question is going to be, go ahead, about...
The difference to the case of the Cuban 5.
All right, the Cuban 5 case, in Mumia's case, we recognize he cannot change what happens to Mumia because it's a state case. However, in the Cuban 5 case, he can, because he's president. Their cases are federal, and he has the power to ultimately grant a pardon. He has the power to release them. So your petition, if you do an online petition, which I have been advocating that you do, in my opinion, would be much more effective for the Cuban 5 than it would be for him, because initially because of the difference in the cases. Plus, they're not on death row, so he can release them, and he is the president of the United States, and their case is federal. They were convicted in the United States District Court. Mumia wasn't. So, and I advocate an online petition rather than dealing with a paper petition. And the reason is, I'll give you the experience I've had in what we developed on behalf of Mumia. And that is that we have signers, we have more signers from Germany and France than anywhere. The movement is not that strong in the United States for Mumia. So we have less signers in the U.S., but we have many from Germany, France, the Scandinavian countries, Italy, Spain, various South American countries, throughout Africa. Now, and of course around the globe, we have people who have signed from New Zealand. We even have somebody signed from, I think, the North Pole. So, I mean, they're from everywhere, which is remarkable. And all people have to do to sign a petition, if you do it properly, is they do not have to sign a piece of paper. They go on to your online, to your petition site, and they sign it. That's all they do. And you can, and I believe the Cuban 5, petition for the Cuban 5 has potential of being much more successful if you word it correctly, and it's short, it can't be long. In my opinion, it would be immensely effective, much more so than Mumia's case for the reasons I've stated. Also, the Cuban 5 case, I believe, is much better known in the United States than Mumia's case. Mumia's case is well known on the extreme left, but not in the average person you talk to do not know about Mumia. The average person you talk to in the U.S. about the Cuban 5, they know about the Cuban 5. And of course, the other thing you've got going for you, the Cuban 5 case and a petition drive, is that even I think somebody, unless it's the extreme right, I mean, why are these 5 people in prison? It makes absolutely no sense. So you've got a compelling case, and I would be willing, if you would like, to help draft a petition. But it's real important how it's drafted. Again, it must be brief. And our petition, when I drafted it, we had it in a number of languages. We have it in U.S., French, German, Spanish, Italian, Russian, 2 Chinese dialects, Urdu, et cetera, et cetera. And since then, we've added others to our website. For example, Swahili, Portuguese, Danish. And so it's real important initially to have it in, to get it translated once you have your statement in as many languages as possible, so you attract a broad base of people. And I strongly encourage you to do it, because these people being in prison is an outrage. Many people, not just the extreme left, but many mainstream people will agree with you, and I think they will sign it. And I think you can get hundreds of thousands of signatures, signers very quickly. In Mumia's case, what I developed was a group of Nobel Prize winners. And when we got enough signatures, and we're talking about, I wanted 500,000 or 1 million signers. When we got enough signers, the group of Nobel Prize winners, a very distinguished international group, would present the signatures to President Obama. Now, I would suggest that you think along the same lines, that you have not only everyday people, but also prominent people sign, people like Harry Belafonte, Daniel Mitterrand, etc. And you plan on, when you have enough signers, and I'm not sure what the magic number is. I don't know if it's 500,000, 1 million, but it needs to be so many that he cannot ignore it. When you have it ready, have a group of very distinguished, respected people like Nobel Prize winners present it to him. And that makes a very compelling case.
Okay.